turibuka amateka yacu.
We come to you, we show you our hearts. May you come in each and every single one's heart so that you can give us peace as we remember. Help us not to stay in our past, but to move forward. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
As we begin, I would like to clarify a few things. In this commemoration, remember the genocide against the Tutsi. It was not the genocide of Rwandans. People who were killed, people who spent hundreds of nights without sleeping, people who walked 100 miles looking for refuge were not being chased and killed because they were Rwandans. They were killed because they were Tutsi.
I would like to introduce a very short video that may give more clarification and more meaning to why we always and have to remember so that we will not forget what has happened.
kwibuka ni ukugira ngo tumenye uko twavuye umuryango utibuka ntabwo ushobora kubibona ugomba kwibuka ariko ugana mu nzira nziza tukegera abandi kandi dufite n'ingirakamaro hanyuma no gufasha n'ahandi hose ibyo ngibyo byaba bigiye kubafasha kugira ngo nabo ibyatugwiririye nabo bitashobora kuba byabagwiriye. So Ibuka is in fact an instrument of advancing.
It is our duty to remember that. And for us to be able to remember, we must teach every child in every school in Africa.
For us as Rwandans, for the love of our fellow Tutsi families, parents and children who were killed because they were born a Tutsi. Allow me to welcome Jean David, our colleague, as he shared with us his poem that he wrote to remind us how horrible and dark the genocide time was for Rwanda.
A shower of hate that won't go away. Day 7 of April, 1994, when pain suddenly opened the door. With guns and machetes they marched, aiming at our necks to detach. So when they did, the North Indians, the Tutsi would escape their grasp. They swore that all would experience their wrath. I remember. Genocide was called by the truth not told. The rains struck hard smells of rotting flesh. Cries from a distance, heard but ignored. Exterminate the Tutsis was a message from the radio. I remember. It was a rainy season, beginning of a massacre. Men, women, and children were alienated from their homes. They became refugees in camps away from their homes. The African Holocaust had begun in Rwanda. It took a while for the world to ponder. The ones who had the power to stop it laughed and kept quiet. They gave neither reason nor excuse for their silence. They waited until we all lost our patience. I remember. Before that day, rivers are common blue. Before that day, the air was fresh. Before that day, churches were holy and safe. Before that day, families were united. But after that, rivers turned bloody, turbulent, and muddy. The air smelled putrid because of piles of rotting bodies. Churches were raided, and their altars were set ablaze. Families were separated, and some were totally erased. I remember. Innocent lives were categorized. Stereotyped, stigmatized, marginalized. Disenfranchised, deprived, discarded, denied, forgotten. Not necessarily in that order, but it happened. But I remember them all. But I wonder, when will the world come to understand that all those superficial differences should not set us apart, but rather make us more united? I cannot change the past, but at least I can learn from it. So I remember. Thank you.
Eventually in 1994, April 7th, in Rwanda, genocide officially started. But the systematic discrimination, oppression, and killing of Tutsis started much earlier in 1959. Next up, please allow me to welcome our very own Christian Ubuneza to share with us his testimony. You're welcome, Christian.
During the genocide, I was a baby, so I don't know. I didn't see anything but stories from my auntie. So the genocide started April 7th, 1994, and during the night of April 9th, that's when I lost my parents. I was living in the house, just me and my parents, and so when they killed my parents, they also had to kill me, because I was a boy, a baby boy, and one of the themes for the genocide was, don't let any baby boy live. So I had to die that night too. What happened is my parents were really good Christian, and they were praying that night. My dad had a Bible in his hands, and after they killed my dad and my mom, the Bible fell from my dad's hands. It hit the wall and it came onto my chest. That was a miracle, because from that, the people who killed my parents were very afraid and they couldn't touch me. They decided not to kill me because of that reason. So what they did is they took me to a Red Cross station that was nearby, and they placed me there. I don't know what they were hoping for, but what happened after that is there was a lady that worked at the Red Cross station, and when she saw me, she couldn't take me home with her because she was really afraid, and she could be putting herself and her family's lives in danger, because if she took me home, they would also get killed. So she went home, but also she had a friend, and she went to her friend and she talked to her and told her that there is this baby who is at the Red Cross station, and if he stayed there for the next few hours, he's probably going to die from hunger. So so the woman she talked to took a chance on me, and she came at the Red Cross, picked me up, and from that day she decided to make me one of hers, and she made me her own child. So I grew up with her and the family, and I grew up thinking they were my real parents because I was obviously a baby and I didn't know anything. So when I was 9 years old, that's when I got to meet my biological family. So I had an aunt. That's the sister to my father. And when genocide ended, she looked for me and she searched the whole country, hoping I was still alive, but she couldn't find me. But then she kept on having dreams from my dad, saying, my son is still alive, you have to go find her, or you have to go find him. And so one day, my auntie heard about one of the killers who killed my parents, and she heard about where he was in prison, and she went to visit with him, and hoping she could get some information about me, maybe to know if they know where I was. So they went to the prison, and they talked to him, and he gave them a name for the woman that took me to raise me. So then the next day they came to that woman where she was working, and when she saw them and when she heard all the things they told her, she thought they were lying. So she couldn't believe them, and she sent them away. She told them, I don't have any child who's not mine. All the children I have are mine. So, but the next they went, and then the next time they came back, they came with my grandmother, and I really looked like my grandmother. And when the mother that raised me saw my grandmother, she started crying. She now believed them that I was one of them, and she gave them a chance to come visit me and see me. And at the time I was in school, and they came to visit me at school. And they always tell me this story, what happened at school, because when I saw them, I didn't know them, but because of blood connection, I ran really fast, and I hugged them, and it was amazing. And they asked me if I wanted anything, and I told them I wanted bread and school fees. Don't ask me why I say that, but that's what came out of my mouth that day. So they visited me at school, and then they went back because I was in school. But then after the school year, they wanted me to go live with them so that I could get a chance to continue grow up with my cousins. And I also find out that I have a sister from my father. So yeah, I had a chance to go live with them. And they looked for a school that was nearby, and they put me back in school. And yeah, it was beautiful living and getting a chance to grow with them. But then I could always miss being with my family that raised me, because of course they were a very big part of my life. And but every time during the school vacation, I could always go there and live with them the whole vacation, then go back to school. So with my auntie, when I went to live with them, we were a lot of kids there. Most of them were also my other cousins who lost their parents because they didn't have anywhere to live. So my auntie brought them all in the house. I remember we were about 12 of the cousins that didn't have their parents because they lost them during the genocide, and my auntie also had eight kids. So we were almost about 20 kids in the house, and it was really fun. So when I was 17, a few years ago, I was at the parents that raised me during the vacation, and there was this neighbor to their family, and she invited me in her house. And when I went, it happened for me to meet the person who killed my parents. When I entered the house, I didn't know what was going on, but they told me that, and I don't even know the reason why they were telling me that. Maybe, I don't know. So when we were talking, I did not have any anger or feel any hatred towards him for what he did. It was just something that came like that, and I don't even remember any conversation we had, other than when I was going back home, he offered me to buy me a phone, and I was like, I'm not sure if I want that, because I did not want to develop any connection with him, and I thought, like, if he give me anything, he wanted to be very close to me, and I don't think I wanted that. All I knew is deep inside, I forgave him, and I don't have anything against him, so life continues. Because what even helped Rwanda to be where it is today, a big part of it is forgiveness, because when you forgive, you are healed, and you become much stronger, and you forget. I mean, you put all the negativity behind you and start working and preparing for your future. But sometimes I wonder, and I ask myself, what could have happened if I had a chance and to live and grow up with my parents? The only thing I know about my parents is their faces through photos. So I think it would have been a very beautiful thing to grow up with them and get the mother's affection and my parents' affection in general. I also ask myself what could happen if genocide never happened, because a lot of family got separated during the genocide, and even today, for those people who never had a chance to see the remains of their relatives are still in Rwanda. Because, for example, last 2 years in our family, we found another cousin of ours who we never knew he existed. So even today, there is still a lot of Rwandans, and there are people who we don't know if they even died, because during the genocide, people were trying to survive, and families got separated. Some fled the country, and after the genocide, when they came back, their houses were already destroyed, and the regions they were living in, well, like, they couldn't live there again. So that brought a very big disconnections from the families and relatives. But after all, as Rwandans, we are very grateful, and I am grateful because I had a chance to grow up with two families that really loved me and cared about me, and they always pushed me to become the best person I can become. And I believe that during the night my parents died, God saved me for a reason. And I may not know all the reasons that why God saved me, but I believe one of the reasons is during times like this, sharing my testimony and impacting the lives around me, and continue growing in general, and help my friends, help my country to be a great country and a peaceful country that like it is today. So thank you so much.
The song we're going to sing is in Rwanda, our mother language. But what it talks about basically is the reason why you have to remember. We don't remember to change the past, but we remember to learn from it and then work together to move forward and build a better future.
Turibuka Genocide yakorewe Abatutsi mu Rwanda, mugongo duhetse wakozwe mu nda n'abawe, reka abawe tukwihoreze.
Amateka yacu ko ari nta yacu, twigiye mu byinshi ubu ntahacu, twiyemeje tutazigera dusubira inyuma.
Turwanye ingengabitekerezo ya Jenoside, dushyigikire ibyiza Abanyarwanda twagezeho. Nyuma y'icuraburindi n'ishyano ryaguye, dufite umuco, dufite icyizere cy'ejo hazaza. Ihore, 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 hora Rwanda. Ihore, 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 hora Rwanda.
Twaciwemo ibice turamarana, tubigwamo ikibi kiraganza. Ubu ndi umunyarwanda, niyo ntero kugera imahanga, turaba agaciro. Umunyarwanda arakomeye,
Arakomeye,
amahanga arabisura ngo yige.
yige. Ubu u Rwanda uraseka, akanyamuneza k'abana bawe niko gatuma udusuye adataha. Turwanye ingengabitekerezo ya Jenoside, dushyigikire ibyiza Abanyarwanda twagezeho. Nyuma y'icuraburindi n'ishyano ryaguye, dufite umuco, dufite icyizere cy'ejo hazaza. Ihore, 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 hora Rwanda. Ihore, 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 hora Rwanda.
Next up, we're going to have Vanessa, and she's going to tell us a story about two of the children who were killed in the genocide against the Tutsi. These children were like any other children. They had stories, they lived a life, they had parents, they had friends. But the perpetrator didn't see that. They thought of them as cockroaches, as sons and daughters of Inyenzi. Welcome, Vanessa.
We remember Gakechuru was 4 years old when she died. The Interahamwe threw a grenade at the Tutsi people who were hiding together. We remember how playful, jolly, and loving she was. Today, she would have been 29 years old, and who knows what she'll be. We remember David Mugiraneza was killed at 10 years old. He loved to play soccer. He was funny, and his dreams were to be a doctor. He had a very close friend whose name was Diane. His last words were, "Maman, minuar izadukiza," which translates to, "Mom, the UN soldiers are going to save us." He was beaten to death. This kid cried out, "Please don't kill me. I will never be a Tutsi again." Today, as you remember, please keep in mind these children. For the next 100 days, I want each one of you to make a personal promise to the world to spread love so that these dreams will never be killed again.
No more tears, no more anger, no more pain, no more violence, no more bloodshed, strife and struggle, free from harm, and no more wars. I believe if we stand together, we shall overcome and ease the struggle. No more fighting, no more hate, the agony is gone. Hope is my strength, faith is my weapon.
Now, as a sign of respect to the lives who were lost in the 1994 genocide against Tutsi, we are going to put flowers on the gallery and table on the right.
Overseas, I can see the colors of rainbow. I can see, yeah, I can see the rain is gone, the sky is blue. I can see the green fields. I feel free. I can see the heroes behind me. I have hope. One voice, one language, one vibe, one nation, one breath. Listen, step by step, I will follow you, hands in hand to the destination. Forgiveness, commitment, let us never forget. Hope is my strength, faith is my weapon. Liberty, equality, humanity, and justice for all. I can feel